Hi guys, it's Bison here, and today I'll be bringing you all a video on my Battle Brothers speedrun rule set. So let's get straight into it. So here we are on my YouTube with my video sequence, 45-day Modern Leaf Rush, which I successfully completed on stream. Now it's come to my attention that people want to challenge me, and that's great. I love competition. I love how it inspires people to better themselves at the game, to come to the table and take me on. Because currently I hold the record, and I hope someone could knock me off my perch. That would be fantastic. So let's talk about speedruns. Let's talk about rules. Battle Brothers itself is not that much of a speedrunnable game. So in order to make it speedrunnable, we need certain rules. I've got a rules list. I have a Word document, which you can see here, and I'll post the link to this below the stream. I'm still working on finalizing this section here, where I've taken ideas from the guy who cleared the 60-day legendary clear and Feedy v me. The only difference being I do not save scum any fights at all, which is a major point of difference. So let's start from the top. So we've already talked about the rules. We need rules to create a level playing field for competition. It's that simple. We will use the same mods, the same rules, the same everything. Now I've set this record with this rule set, and I've held myself accountable because I want people to know how did I win, and I want them to be able to replicate it because I have some advantages over standard play. This is true. So let's get into it. Let's start from the top. So we're playing expert, low. This is shorthand to EEL. We're playing Ironman. This does not mean we tick Ironman. It means we enforce Ironman on ourselves. It means no save scumming. What is save scumming? That is simply reloading a save file to get the right ambition. It is reloading a save file to get the right brother. It is reloading the save file to get the same fight and try and beat it over and over and over again until I win. Save scumming is not Ironman. So for this rule set, if you reload a save file to beat a fight, if you reload a save file to get a different ambition, you're cheating. If you want to reload and do all that, you will be playing a category called non-Ironman. Additionally, this means no Alt F4 of any description for any reason. If I misclick, I accept the result and I expect the same standard if you want to beat me in my category. We have an exception. If your game crashes, you can reload. That's common sense, right? We use all DLC up to Warriors of the North. If you want to use the Supporters Edition, I don't have a problem with that. I do consider it pay to win. So I have a slight issue with it, and I don't use it myself. You are free to use it. It is part of the game, and I have to suck it up and buy it. We'll go to our second rule. Full recordings of play. Your speedrun should start from the menu, choose your origin, choose your difficulty, put your map seed in, and start from day .1. This is a speedrun standard. You should be starting from the menu screen, and the expectation and burden of proof is on the speedrunner to provide the entirety of the run. Even if you're doing nothing wrong, you must provide proof, and I have done so, and I've streamed the whole thing and I put it to YouTube. We'll talk about rule 4. Third partying is acceptable. Some people frown when this is mentioned, but as part of the game, something I've used. Exploit it to your heart's content. Additionally, I talk about AI abuse in this Word document. You can find the link in the description below. I'm in the process of finalizing this, so the final version will be in the description for your reading and bedtime reading at a later date. Okay. 5. Oh, we missed number 3, which is the mods. This is actually quite a big deal. True quality of life mods only. I use faster with paws, hooks, which makes all the mods work. Frenzy Red gives me red eyes when I have Killing Frenzy. And I've got Combat Log, which drops the combat log down when I'm playing. These are the mods I've used. These are the mods that are acceptable for others to use. If you want to introduce other mods in here, I mean, you should probably double check that they're not going to give you any extra information or any additional mechanics based upon the ones that I already have. The only additional mechanic is pause from faster with paws and the additional movement speed associated with that. Okay, so they're the mods that I use. So go ahead, use those mods. I'll talk about the banned mods below. They're a bit further down, as you can see, and they are banned for very good reason, which I'll go into. So let's talk about Rule 5. We've just talked about the mods we use while playing, so we'll talk about the mods we use to create the knowledge we need for a speedrun. And this is standard that a lot of streamers use, that a lot of speedrunners use in Battle Brothers, and it's probably here to stay, and I'll explain why. So, you get a day 1 reveal map screenshot using debug mode from Tweak and Fixes, or any other way you want to do it, for optimal planning of camp clears. You don't let the timer run, you just grab the screenshot and you get the fuck out. Okay? Very simple. Grab the screenshot, get out of there. You can also use seed analyzers to determine famed items, yada yada yada. It's a power gamer's wet dream. Go bloody nuts. The guy who cleared all locations in 60 days used seed analyzers, seed farms. He went into the script. He went into the information of the famed items, and he had all that information, and he used it to his advantage. This is acceptable. It's an acceptable standard, I think, and I use it now, and other people use it now. And additionally, if you played a map seed enough anyway, you would learn all these things. So that's why we allow day 1 reveal map screenshot, and the final reason is thus. You might be wondering why we don't race on a blind map seed. Well, it's quite simple. On a blind map seed, you're at the whims of the RNG gods whether or not you find the legendary locations, because some map seeds don't spawn with legendary locations, they spawn with them missing. Additionally, the sight distance to find these legendary locations is incredibly small, which means it is incredibly easy to miss them at nighttime, which means if you were competing against another player, you would lose. And there's no skill involved. So that's why we reveal map. Additionally, we remove these mods during play for very good reason. If I was to accidentally reveal the map whilst I was mid-run, I would have to start all over again. I would have to reset my campaign because it would provide me information on camp respawns that I'm not going to have on a day 1 reveal map screenshot. And additionally, it would provide me with information on patrols, which means I could alter my course and go kill these patrols. So I remove these mods after I've collected my screenshots. And I prepare my screenshots before I start the run. So let's go on to the last section here, which is the banned mods. Aside from those mentioned above, any mod that changes the mechanics of the game or gives you extra information is not allowed. So we're talking about scoutable locations, we're talking about scouting name charts, and this one for very good reason. Scoutable locations gives you basically the poacher's origin buff. Scouting name charts is an old mod that has not been updated in over a year. Scouting name charts will show you the percentage of famed items inside the camp. That's a non-issue. And it shows you the enemy group. And you might be wondering, how is showing the enemy group an issue? Well, it's quite simple, really. You'd be wondering, how could this be an issue if you have a day 1 reveal map screenshot? You would learn whatever inside the camp anyway. Well, this is true. But if you are specifically re-clearing camp respawns, which I do, this mod will give you extra information on what's inside the camp. And we're talking about abandoned strongholds and castles and the like. You have no idea what's inside until you go in there. With this mod, it will tell you if you've got orcs, goblins, brigands, undead. Extra information you should not have, and that is the first reason why this mod is banned. The second reason why this mod is banned is much more severe. This mod has the potential on some map seeds to reset the world camp spawns. What does this mean? You get a different camp, you get a different famed item inside, and it allows you to potentially have access to 2 different lists of famed items on the same map. This means you could create a super seed and you could use the mod or not use the mod for the best itemization. This is an inherent advantage. The map seed I played has been confirmed to be affected by this mod. This mod unintentionally changes something in the code and fucks it up. This mod is bad for good reason. Additionally, and the third reason why it's bad. So let's say this. Hypothetically, well, Bison, if I only have this mod installed and I never uninstall it, we're not going to have an issue, right? Right? No, very wrong. There will be an issue. Because the map seeds have the same map, if I want to compete against someone who's using this mod and I don't have the mod, I may have a different map. Not all maps are affected by this mod, but some are, which means I can't compete unless I use this mod. And then it creates a question. If I'm allowed to use this mod, that means I'm allowed to use this mod to create 2 separate lists of famed items on the map seed that I cleared 45 days. Because if one person is allowed to use the mod, the other person is allowed to use the mod in principle. And I would abuse the shit out of it if I was allowed to use this mod. This is the way speedruns work. And that is why I have banned it. Because I hold myself to a high standard here. So there's the reasoning, and I hope that makes sense to you guys. So this will also include mods that show remaining HP on enemies. This will give you some sense of security or surety on killing them, which is info you don't have. A lot of the skill in the game comes down to knowing by feel when something is going to die and things like that. So these are the rules that I've used. You are welcome to use these rules, but remember, you don't have to use them. If you don't use them, you must understand that you're not playing by the same rules. And if you're trying to beat me, it's going to be hard to claim that you actually did beat me because you may be using an inferior rule set. For example, maybe you do save scum and you play non-Ironman. Maybe you have mods that I don't have and you use them, which are inherent advantages to you. It's going to be hard to compare our runs, which is why I think it is very important to use the same rules. So I hope that's cleared that up. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you an example of what save scumming is and how you can abuse this. I'll show you why I have banned save scumming and why I play true Ironman, which is no alt F4, no save scums. So let's hop over to the game. So this is how you would, this is my way of starting a run. You would start from the menu screen, you would post in your map seed and choose the best looking banner, which is this one. And then you would go your difficulty settings and start. Note, we're not ticking Ironman, we are self-inflicting it. The honor seed is in effect, as usual. So, this is how you should start your speedrun. This is how I start my speedrun. You start out here from day one with full recordings of play, you do your level ups and you get going. Yada, yada, yada. You get the picture. I'm not going to do it. So then we're going to go, because we know the map, we know there's a camp over here. We'll go right there and I'll show you something. So every time you reset the campaign and you start from the menu and come back in, the starting conditions are always different. This time, we've got a patrol. Sometimes you don't get a patrol. Sometimes you get different fights. This could easily be Reavers, this could easily be something else. So we would fight this normally, but I'm just pointing something out. So we're going to kite these guys around if I can. And we'll go look in the camp. So in the camp here, we see that there are some barbarian Reavers. Now, if we were to create a save file here, Reaver example, then potentially we could take on the fight, see if it's possible, maybe lose a few times, and if we lost, we could just simply reload. And that would be called save scumming. That breaks Ironman because you're reloading a fight you already lost, right? You're scumming the same fight. Additionally, if you create this save file, this fight will always be the same, which means you can keep resetting your campaign until you find a fight you like, and then you can take that fight on, and eventually you'll win. Now, if it takes you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times to beat, it's save scumming. And this is something I've specifically banned. So let me prove this to you. I've created multiple save files at this specific location, which I'll show to you now. So this is the Reaver example, and this is a start race example. So the reason this breaks my rules is because you need full recordings of play. If you're starting your speedrun from here, you have missed the start position from Grimborg. That is not full recordings of play. That is not acceptable. So this is a different map, and we got attacked by the Reavers that are chasing us. A different patrol. So let me show you that there are different camp contents. And we'll start from a different file. This example. So we had some Reavers in the first example with some patrols. But here we are, no patrols, and this one has some Reavers and an armored unhold. So potentially we can reset campaign, find a fight we can beat, such as 14 barbarian thralls, and then we could reload that fight over and over and over again. That would be called non-Ironman. So that's save scumming. Additionally, you could do the same thing with a save file just before you're about to get an ambition, and you could reload over and over and over again until you got the correct one. This is something that I have specifically banned. No save scum, no Alt F4 of any description. So that brings me to the end of what I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure. I hope I've cleared things up for you. I hope I've drawn out my rules in a very clear and eloquent manner. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them below. This is the standard I set for myself. And if people want to knock me off my perch, this is the sort of standard I would expect people to play with. So, there we go. If you have any ideas for what rules can be changed or improved, you're welcome to come to the party and we can have a talk about them and see if they can be improved. I'm sure there are some things we don't write down perfectly. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.